So today we're going to take a look at things that kind of goes into each other in track making, like if you want to make a jump on a hill or similar. Like you can see here, I've kind of taken out some dirt and put a jump there, as well as I've put a landing right here, and it's still pretty much the same height, and pretty much things like this that are pretty much according to the current terrain and in the correct height and stuff. So gonna take a look at how to do that. So I have decided to do kind of a step-up jump as well as a tabletop on the hill right in front of me. So I'm going to show off the technique you want to use when doing such a thing. So I'm going to use this backside here as a landing. So you could either here go two ways. Either you could just have a flat landing pretty much as it is. This would work pretty fine as a landing. Or you can make one yourself, as we are going to do. So first off, we want to create a gradient for this. So go to gradient placement, new gradient. I'm just gonna mark out where this is that I want to have. Okay, so I want to have it here. That's just for measurements, so I know where I'm going to make it. So that's one thing you can do, is to mark out where you want the stuff. So I'm going to place a gradient here, create a one, and we want to start from the middle and then go. And let's say you want to have the jump at this point. You could do that, but you preferably want to have a little bit more distance on both sides, and you'll see why in a minute. So I am going to go to gradient edit, use set from terrain, and here you can see we have the hill, all these curves. So if we would have a flat gradient, we just have to guess pretty much everything, and that just wouldn't be efficient. So we're going to use set from terrain here, and then we get everything. So we will come from the bottom here, and we'll make a jump and then land about here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep these first ones, so we'll get the same kind of hill as to the sides, and around here I'm going to start making a kicker. I think that will be a pretty good length for the jump. And I'm going to change that one to line, since those provides better kickers in my opinion. So as you can see here, what I just did was add a few points so I can get a nice curve like that, and keep those ones. Then add, so I'll have a nice slope here, and I'm actually going to keep this the way it is and see how that works. Otherwise I'll have to modify it. So I'm going to use linear paint, and that's the biggest thing here. If you use add, it will just add those points, but if you use linear paint, it will actually paint along these points here instead of add them to the current terrain. So use linear paint. I'm going to use focus around 50. And then we want to, let's see, we have a 20 feet wide inner circle. Seems about right. And we want to start around, this is another thing. And if you start in a slope or similar, this extra is really important, because otherwise you will have a edge here that will just look weird. So make sure to have this extra bit here. It won't hurt. So, but since my kicker is somewhere around here, I'm gonna start a little bit in front of the starting point. Then I'm going to do pretty much all the way over. I'm gonna update and see how it looks. And the thing, why I said I am not going to go all the way over is because if I go all the way over, you can see it continues flat, because the last or the first point will just keep the same height as that point. So that's why you don't want to have a too short gradient. So I'm gonna update, then try this jump here, see how it is. Pretty sweet jump, and in my opinion it's a little bit wide, so I'm just going to undo that, a little bit more narrow, something like that perhaps. Do the same thing, press L to get a line, and then I'm going to change to smooth. Can have a pretty high smooth and just smooth out the landing here, so you won't really notice the landing itself. So as you can see, you can't really tell that there's been a gradient here. So let's try to jump again. Still feels pretty solid, so I'm gonna keep that jump there, and I'm gonna make a tabletop. So this is where it might get a little bit tricky. I'm going to reuse this gradient. I'm going to make a tabletop somewhere around here. So I'm going to set from terrain again, and this is our gradient, as you can see. Let's say I want to have a tabletop starting, the kick should start here, setting a point, then keep raising, set another point here as well, keep building a kick, so something like this. Then you might want to make a landing. I'm actually gonna make it a little bit step up as well, just because I think the landing is going to be better. Then you want a landing, and it should continue on this path right here. So we got a little bit in the beginning and a little bit at the end here. So let's see, linear paint, up the focus quite a bit. 1730 is going to be alright here. As you can see, this is exactly what I'm talking about. So continuing on out here, we'll get this weird edge. So that's why you want to start with the outer line around the first starting point of the gradient. Press L, do the same at the end there. And as you may notice, it looks pretty shitty because it's kind of across a slope. So it looks kind of weird, but you'll have to adjust this with smooth pretty much. So smooth out things here at the start and the same here. So something like that. So you can see it already looks better here. And if you want to, you could even use another gradient going from flat terrain onto the tabletop before. Okay, so the jump sucks, but you get the principle how to do it. And that's pretty much anyway you need to know how to make jumps, because if there's a flat ground, you can use the flat gradient, but as soon as you have a hill or something you're going to make a jump on, you need to use set from terrain and linear paint to get it how you want. So that's how to make jumps. I really hope it made sense and that you can learn something. So yeah, see ya in the next tutorial.